same old song. Dirty river, come take me where we're going. I can't see. Once again, I'll follow to your fold.
All right, welcome to the first episode of our show In Search of Songwriters
and Cereal.
We are here in Lamoni, Iowa, visiting with Iowa award-winning songwriter Chad Elliott. Appreciate you letting us into your town here.
Thanks for coming.
We're actually in your new homestead.
Yes.
I understand there's a history to this house.
Yeah, well, my grandma designed it. My grandpa built it. So,
You've done a little remodeling since you've been here, I understand.
Yep, I grew up coming to this house, running around.
In terms of your career, if I'm not mistaken, you often do around 200 shows a year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's going through a lot of guitar strings.
That is. Elixir.
Yeah. I've watched your career and your progress for a long time. And one of the things I've noticed, you do a great job of making your fan base feel like they're lifelong friends.
Oh, that's good.
And
Thank you.
For budding songwriters and musicians that are just starting out, what advice would you give them as they start, based on what you've kind of learned?
Yeah, I think that the beauty of being a songwriter is that you are authentically you. And there's a lot of great songs out there that are directed towards the market, but the ones that are really gems out there, I think, that are being discovered are the ones that are completely honest, just their own voice, and you could hear it, that they're telling stories and it's their stories or people that they've actually met. And so authenticity is key. I think be yourself, be real, and put it out there. Don't be afraid to put it out there.
It's a perfect segue into my next question. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your album Ringo that you put out. And I understand it was actually recorded here.
Right here.
Downstairs in what used to be your grandpa's dark room. Is that your studio?
Yes, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. I understand you had some friends join in, and there was even somebody named Ash Elliott, I think. That was
Yeah. My son actually jumped in on harmonies. A song that I wrote for him when he was younger, and it came full circle, and he sang on it. But I brought in my friends, Tommy Lewis, my buddy, my guitar player, but also an awesome songwriter himself. He jumped in and produced it with me, and I really just bounced ideas off him as we were touring the country going, what about this song? And he's like, yes, or nah, maybe, But he really has an ear for my songs in particular as somebody that has listened to them a lot. And I brought in Jim Van Dorn, my drummer, and
got to meet him. Great guy.
Yeah, Dave Hearn on keys, and just a lot of Iowa folks that came in and lent a hand. And these were really personal songs, so I wanted it to have that. If it was more of a singer-songwriter album, but on the edge of being a band, because we do play a lot of rockin' shows as well together. Yeah. And the next album we were going to be working on was going to be full-blown band, so I wanted to kind of put them all be on that edge. So
super. Well, you mentioned songwriters and being authentic, and Ringgold it's a very raw and personal. Some of the songs that you have on there. I wanted to ask you kind of a little bit about the because it talks about the joys and the challenges of relationships, along with personal struggles and the challenges of the road. I know on one end you hear about Willie Nelson. Seems like his motto is on the road again. Or Bob Dylan, the never-ending tour, and it seems like there's a certain amount of the experiences of the road that kind of get in the blood, and maybe the feedback from the fans is intoxicating a little bit. But on the other end, you hear in the movie The Last Waltz, Robbie Robertson says that the road is an impossible way of life. So if you could just kind of share with us a little bit maybe about the pull of the road and the challenges of being a family man on top of that.
That's perfect. That's basically the description of this album, was dealing with those things, the balance of family life and road life, and struggling because not having a father around a lot when I was a kid. I have these little children at home that I really love what I do, but I wanted to make sure I was also paying mind to that. And a lot of these songs are about that, feeling like I'm letting them down sometimes just because I'm always gone. And my wife, God bless her, keeps everything kind of balanced for me as the booking manager and the mother of my children. But I think that the road is amazing too. There's so many wonderful things that we kind of, as songwriters, I get ideas, and I'm going to these new places, and I recall my own home, but there's places like the Escondido Valley in near New Mexico that I'm just like, I'm going, I could never write. There's a song on this called Subtle Glimpses that I'm referring to all these places around the country that I've visited, and I could not have gotten that song without that, you know. So I feel like I'm paying a price, I'm getting rewarded, but I'm also, it's an all
real balance.
It really is. Yeah. It's like juggling.
Well, you talked about authenticity and this song being very personal and raw. The songs. I want to kind of ask you about the song "Thunder and Lightning." You had played a house show, part of Panoramic Concerts, and then about 3 weeks later, I think I went to Kansas City and saw you play in a venue. First time I heard you play this song.
Yes.
And there's some lyrics in there. I hit the bottle, or when I hit the bottom, I hit the bottle, or I'll take to the hills just like my daddy did, and I ain't proud of it, just the way that it is. You seem to be in a different place now than when you wrote those lyrics, but I thought I'm going to ask you just a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been sober just over 2 years now, and when I wrote that, I was in the tail end of my. I was intoxicated when I wrote it. Actually, I was feeling pretty sorry for myself, but I was facing some demons that my own I've inherited through my family. We've had alcoholism in our family, and I've been kind of fighting it all my life, but that was my kind of turning point in my life, was realizing I need to change my ways. I'm starting to repeat patterns, and that song is a lot about kind of looking at those patterns and just praying that everyone around me can kind of stay.
How difficult and how cathartic was it writing that song? I mean, that's not an easy thing to put out there.
I think the writing of it is, I'm pretty fearless when I write, but when I share those songs, it's a different thing. I remember when I first played it for my friends, and I didn't want to share it live. I was like, there's no way I'm going to share this in a live setting. At that point I thought, no, I don't want to expose that much about myself. And then, my buddy, Tommy was one of the guys, and they're just like, that Thunder and Lightning song, you got to do that song.
It's a powerful
so
song.
I was like, and and the more I share it now, I connect with people all at my shows, and it's really interesting to see the connection that makes something so deeply personal in me can really resound in somebody else. And I've had lots of good, really after show conversations based on that song, and they come up and want to talk, and it's helped me realize that the song isn't for me anymore. It is for me, but it's for everyone that kind of feels that connection.
Well, and in the end, that's what you hope a song will do. That reaches people and maybe moves them into different experiences. So I wanted to ask you about having your wife, Alyssa, as your booking agent. Do you ever have to say, no, honey, don't send me back to that town. I don't want to play there again. Don't send me back to that venue.
Oh, yeah. No, she's a saint, when it comes to balancing all that, because there's a lot of details that if you're not there, you kind of have to explain and express, and she's very patient, saying, all right, we still have to pay the bills. And also, just her vision of the longer tours are hard to book, and it takes a special skill to be able to kind of connect places
town to town and not be traveling 7 hours coming back, 7 going 2.
But there are times that when you have it all in house, though, you're laying in bed and did you call that one? Yeah, and they were like, turn it off.
Also, there's a song on Ringgold here. It says the song is "Wedding Band," and I love that tune because some of the lyrics talk about laughter shaking the dust off the rafters and seeing the biggest smile on your dance partner's face when an Otis Redding song gets played.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that song and the writing of that song?
Yeah, that's actually a personal song as well. A lot of these are, but this one was one that it spent about 6 years trying to write this song, and it was about my own wedding, and my wife and I, the week of our wedding, her mom just fell asleep and never woke up, and it was out of the blue. No one expected it, and so we moved our wedding, and it was just this always. We were going to be married up in Minnesota, and her family's cabin up there, and then it got changed, and we were doing her celebration of life, and then we're all trying to grieve and celebrate, and we moved the wedding out to this field called Star Field now near Coon Rapids, Iowa, and it rained, so we couldn't do it there, so we moved into the barn nearby, and we got married and did our whole dance there in this barn, and it was that kind of sadness and joy at the same time. And so I was always going, how could I write a song about that time? And I thought the one thing that really stuck out was the smile on my wife's face when we were doing our dance, and this Otis Redding song was playing, and I thought I could write about that smile.
We're looking forward to having you come to Springfield in a little bit and resuming our panoramic concert series. You played 4 different times in the panoramic concert shows, and twice as the main act, and then twice you opened up for Verlin Thompson, which was
what an honor.
Great nights, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's it been like for you? The different experiences of meeting and playing with musicians, other songwriters, and your travels, and how does that impact your craft?
A lot of times it depends. Sometimes you're just blown away and you want to give it all up.
Been there.
But a lot of times I just feel this kinship, and the ones that I really hold up on a pedestal have all been so humble and kind to me that they take me under their wing, kind of thing, and that makes me feel a part of something bigger, and I love that. And you cross paths a lot of different places around the country, and you can come kind of be a part of that community. It's a tight-knit community of songwriters out there, and I just love that aspect of this business.
And it's, like you say, it's always great when you meet somebody that you admire, and it turns out they're a humble guy. And you just you couldn't like them more. Felt that way about Verlin. When we
absolutely. Verlin Thompson. Wow.
In terms of your songwriting, are there particular artists, songwriters that have had the most influence on your career, if you were to name a few?
Oh, gosh. There's the bigger names that a lot of people know, but like the Bob Dylans. And I'm a big Townes Van Zandt fan. But Greg Brown is probably one of my top of the list, too. He's an Iowa guy. And when I was out kind of in a destitute place in my life, living out of a vehicle out west. I was in Missoula, Montana, and I snuck into one of his shows. And I was in a balcony, and I was blown away. I was like, well, that's what I want to do. And his songs he could do an old sounding folk song or more of a gritty blues song, and I just love his writing is one of my favorites. I connect with it on a personal level.
Well, I'm going to take a little turn here. I know you are an artist. My son Jake's an artist. I'm going to let him kind of talk with you a little bit about art, and so I'll turn it over to Jake.
All right. So you've worked in a variety of media as an artist. What's your favorite media? I guess first off, tell us what kind of mediums you work in, and what's your favorite to work in?
Currently, I'm doing a lot of painting, and acrylic painting, but I was schooled in sculpture, and I was really into clay, like figurative work, and did wheel throwing as well. I went to grad school for ceramics, sculptures, and I missed that, but because being on the road so much, you can't really you have to be there for the dry time and the firing and all that, so it's harder. But my original goal in art as a 6-year-old, and as I went up, was to be a sculptor like Rodin, bronze work. So that's why I was working in clay. Is that, and I still feel like when people ask me, "What are you going to do?" When I grow up, I'm going to be a bronze sculptor. But that was when I got hooked when I was a kid.
There might be better money in that too.
It might be. I think you're right. But as a kid, like when I was 17 years old living in Guthrie Center, Iowa, to have a job shadow day for me was really kind of interesting. But thank goodness, my art teacher was a folk singer and a potter and a painter.
Wow.
And so,
Yeah.
and she knew I needed that kind of direction. And so she found a guy out in Western Iowa, David Williamson, who I got to pour iron with him that day. He was a poet. He was also, a painter. And so I got to kind of take it under the wing as a kid, pretty early on.
That's awesome. So my next question is, do you ever deal with creative block, either as a musician or artist? And if so, what do you do to deal with that?
I used to. I did when I was first out of college. I was really just wrapped up into trying to make a living, and I would work and cleaning toilets. I was doing any maintenance
Whatever
and stuff
you
like
took,
that. Yeah. And I had a couple years there where I wasn't making anything, but I was writing a lot of songs, and I feel like my creative block was I kind of curbed it. I found a way around it, with. When people told me I should just pick one thing, I said, no. I know that once the songwriting kind of takes a lull, I'll be able to work on artwork because I've been putting that aside. So now I just feel like I just flow all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes a song will come and I see a painting, so I'll be able to do both. But when I was first started to write songs, though, there was a moment that I had to kind of go, this voice that was kind of this critical voice. Was kind of saying, that's not good enough. I couldn't write one song. I was trying to write my first song, and I finally just said, this week I'm going to give myself 7 days. I'm going to write 20 songs. They're going to be bad. I don't care, but those are my first 20 songs anyway, so I'm just going to throw them away. And I did. I just wrote them, and they were terrible. Some of them were really bad, but I was like, but I kept them, Yeah. It's like, and that got me into that mode of going, just edit later, just keep writing, just edit later, and so I'm always writing. I've written 10 songs this month, or in January.
Which is not the most common thing. I mean, you hear of artists artists we admire that takes them 5 years to get their next album out.
So I feel like they're pieces of songs sometimes, but a lot of times they're just, I'll edit them when I go into the studio, and then when I go and perform them live, I edit them still. I've learned that preciousness had to kind of be scrapped and just say, it's all a process, and I love that part of that. So,
excuse me. What about what's your favorite project that you've ever worked on? Your favorite art project?
If you have one.
Yeah. I think this children's book thing that I've been doing at Wilderman's that was a labor of love. It took me a year to kind of finally get all the paintings for it, but it was so fun, and I took it to another level for myself as a painter, and just trying to spend a little more extra time on the painting, and it was. It's not one of those dream projects. When I was 15 years ago, I was trying to write the poems and songs for these kids, not knowing what it would look like. And finally, when I got into it, I finished it. I was like, man, that was fun. And it was a lot of work, but it was a good.
Yeah, because it combined paintings and songs and poetry within it. Wow.
Yeah, and all for the kids, Yeah, so it was fun.
It's fun. Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned that. As a former educator myself, I know what a challenge it can be to entertain, corral, capture the attention of 150 elementary children.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that experience, what that's like as part of your career.
Oh, man. When I really took it, I was going through kind of a hard time business-wise. I was firing my manager, and I was trying to change my direction, and I just needed something real. And I thought, I got to just finish this book. I got to get this book done. And then when I started going to the public libraries and schools with the kids, I immediately knew I did the right thing, because kids would just tell me like it is. They're honest,
They are. That's one thing.
I would be a hero one moment, and then the next it was like, oh, that was terrible. That was terrible, or boring. Come on.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kept me grounded as an artist too, to kind of. And I have these great stories. Like when I was in Camdenton at the elementary school, I tell the people this story everywhere. And I go, I was playing in front of these kindergartners, and I was talking about this song called Toffle the Tomcat. It was about this grumpy old cat, and I'm telling this story. And I go and start this first chord, and she's like, play it rough. This little kindergarten girl. And so, like, moments like that, you're not going to get
beat it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you got. Going back to music for just a second, I don't want to leave out your trip to Memphis, and you recorded Sun Studios, took some buddies with you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh, that was the highlight of my career so far, I think. Bringing in friends, not just hired hands.
Yeah,
They were good friends.
Great trip for everybody.
Yeah. It was intense because we did it the old school way. We were 6 of us in Sun Studio in that historic room with mics all set up and knowing that it was all going to bleed. So we had to be on and play it live. We recorded it all live. So when we went down there, I rented a house that had a big parlor, and we all got together and jammed all day the day before, and went out and got barbecue and jammed some more that night and worked on the songs, and then we went in there that next night and just that. What you'd expect, the magic of that swirling around in that room. That's
so
exactly
met up to your expectations.
Or even exceeded it. I didn't know it was going to go so well either. We all played at the top of our game, and it was cool.
It's like in the zone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't you say you sang into Elvis Presley's microphone? And
Elvis's mic, and I had Marty Stewart's Martin guitar, and U2's drums sitting in there. So Jim played a little bit on U2's drums. They left it there,
stepping it up and having fun.
Yeah.
Backtrack just a little bit. Wreck and Ruin was another experience. You went to Nashville and got to play with Kenny Vaughn and some other.
I'm lucky. You know, that's one that Ken Coomer produced it. He was a phenomenal drummer and producer in East Nashville, and so he brought in some of the A players in Nashville and around the world. Really, some of the best players, and they did the treatment on my songs, and I just was really proud of that album as well. I feel like in my career, there's just these moments where I go, how did I get from me saying write 20 bad songs to playing some of the best players in the world?
I think you know kind of what you said about pushing on through and then just being authentic. I think that's part of what gets you there, and then you got to have talent. But before we going further, I want to ask you about any upcoming projects that you have. I understand you've got
been working on this new CD. It's coming out. It's coming out this spring. Actually, it's
called
not
Rest Heavy. Huh?
Yeah, Rest Heavy. It's the one we did at Sun Studio, and I'm really proud of this album. It's 11 solid songs, and you can feel the energy of that, of the excitement, but also just that historic building.
When will fans be able to get a copy of that?
We're not sure yet, but it'll be out there
soon.
This spring for sure. I'll be selling them at my shows here pretty soon.
For anybody that wants to purchase CDs, a painting, where do they go to? What website do you have?
ChadElliott.net.
ChadElliott.net.
Yep, 2 L's and 2 T's on Elliott.
Okay, good deal.
So I'm also putting out a book of poems as well called Rumble and Flash. That'll be out in April, and that is referring to that I Am Thunder, I Am Lightning song. You know, Rumble and Flash is the name of the book of poems. Yeah. So,
we want to, before we finish up here in just a second, we want to have you, if you would, play us a song, Wedding Band. But before we do that, we've got a little something for you. I think Jake's going to right here do something here.
Huh? What? No. Okay.
All right, let me step back a little bit so you can.
Is it recording right now?
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well,
okay. Jake's going to present a little something to you. We appreciate you letting us come into your homestead here, the hometown of Lamoni, and he's got a little presentation.
Unveil that.
Oh
Flip around for yourself.
I want to see this.
Take a look.
Grab that.
Tell me what you think.
Oh my gosh! What? Are you kidding me?
It's all yours.
That is amazing.
I know you got a twin, but there may be triplets.
Let's put this up. I'm taking this thing down. What? That is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been working on that for how long now?
A little while.
Thank you, my friend.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. The little CE on the bike. Jake Williams painting.
JakeWilliamsArt.com.
That is
there you go.
amazing.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we're going to.
Did Alyssa see this? Or
No, we just pulled it out.
We could call her in.
I am so
if you'll call her in, you
psyched,
can.
man.
Well, listen, would you mind playing a song for us?
I would be honored, yes. Let's do this. I said to you, love, looks like we're dancing. I took your hand and brought you to the floor. When that wedding band played Otis Redding, man, I swear I never seen you smile like that before. And on, they played our favorite songs as if they were singing for only you and me. And I felt your laughter shake the dust in the rafters, pray to the ever after. This is how it always would be. And the years flew by and by. We got older, the air grew colder. Somehow we kept warm, 'cause we kept dancing. See, it was nothing fancy. We turned the candles down into the morn. And when that sun came up, we filled our loving cups. We learned the dark night finds light eventually. And I felt your laughter shake the dust in the rafters, pray to the ever after. This is how it always would be. Oh, 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 oh. Mm-hmm. So I said to you, love, looks like we're dancing. I took your hand and brought you to the floor. And when that wedding band played Otis Redding, man, I swear I never seen you smile like that before. And on, they played our favorite songs as if they were singing for only you and me. And I felt your laughter shake the dust in the rafters, pray to the ever after. This is how it always would be. I felt your laughter shake the dust in the rafters, pray to the ever after. This is how it always would be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's Wedding Band. That's on Ringgold. Chad Elliott.
For us, we do want to, we appreciate you all coming along with us to be a part of our first episode of In Search of Song and Serial. And we just want to put it out there to Bob Dylan, John Mayer, the Avett brothers, that you have an open invitation to be on our show.
Anytime.
At any time. And Bob, it won't be the usual interview, the spokesman of his generation, folk to electric, you know.
Dad, what kind of question would you ask Bob?
Bob, what's your favorite cereal? Well, Chad, it's been a real treat being here. We really appreciate you inviting us into Lamoni, Iowa. First time I've been here.
Yeah, nice.
And getting to see your homestead and getting to talk with you about your craft and all the things you do, the different aspects. But I do have one last question I want to ask you.
Yes.
What's your favorite cereal?
How about we have some?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here.
Good deal.
It was all the rage, a big bonfire like a goldfinch sitting on an old barbed wire. Gathered around the flames in a pickup trucks. I was in an old Buick, but I didn't mind much. My great grandfather used to drive it safe. Now he's gone in a deep cold grave. I'm sitting shotgun as he lit out of town, taking dirt roads so he wouldn't be found. Sat like a preacher in the passenger seat, a vow of silence and my prayer for peace. There's no more need to be spinning my yarn, 'cause the deeds I've done didn't cause any harm. Riding on the edge of the great high plains, we were whipped by the wind, pushed by the rain.
Nice.
Wow. Take a bow. All right.